So welcome to the last video on Ethereum, investing in Ethereum and the Ethereum ecosystem. So I suppose first of all, why Ethereum? So briefly, Ethereum leads the decentralized application area. It's got a very strong position for future growth, and it's got a wide range of use cases driving the ecosystem growth overall. Ethereum is the absolute leader, as we know. I've covered that in previous videos. So I've done 4 other areas within the crypto space and within Ethereum. And today, the last two I'm going to cover is DePIN, which is Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. And this is revolutionizing traditional infrastructure models. And we'll touch on a couple of ideas and what they're doing in a minute. And then AI, of course, and blockchain. It's in the integration of artificial intelligence with blockchain technology, and that's creating new opportunities. So let's just look at a few of the projects that are out there. Are they good projects? Are they likely to do well in the future? And is it worth going out the risk curve to get into one of these projects? Or should you just buy your Ethereum? So again, we're working off the sort of general idea. If Bitcoin was to do a 3x, then there's a chance Ethereum could do 4 to 6x, maybe more. And then it's, if you want to go further out the risk scale than that, what should you be looking for? And is the risk worth the potential reward? And so here we look at Filecoin. So what's Filecoin? It's a decentralized storage application, and you earn by providing storage. So if you have excess storage on your computer, for example, you can apply that into their network. As other people use the network, you receive back tokens, their token, which of course you can then sell and convert into funds. So you can make money from excess storage in your computer, as an example. So what's Filecoin look like? Well, look at the general price structure on it. So what I've got here is I'm not in on price, I'm in on market cap, and it's max, so it's from the very beginning. And you can see here, it's been as high as 11 billion or thereabouts. It's currently something over 2 billion. If it was just to go back to where it was before, that's a potential 5x. Of course, there's no guarantees it goes back to where it was before, but of course there's also the potential goes there and further. So if Ethereum again was to do a 4 to 6x, you would expect Filecoin to at least surpass its previous all-time high. Again, this is assuming that everything within the project is still going well. No negative news out there at the moment. So if this was really to catch on and really move forward from here, you would expect that there's a chance that this could, double its previous all-time high or more. If we're to do that, you're looking at a 10x or more. Is that worth, buying into? It's an established project. It's done very well. The risk is at the lower end again, but of course the risk still remains. So is it worth going from, putting some of your money, if you're intending putting it into Ethereum, and actually wanting to go further out the risk curve and going into something like Filecoin? Then is it worth the additional risk? Solid project. Less chance of it going to zero than many, but can it do the upside that we're talking about? Of course, there's more competition coming into the space as well. There's smaller, lower cap projects that are really making moves and might take some of the steam from this, and maybe they're worth looking at. So again, it depends on how far out the risk curve you want to go and what sort of upside you're looking for. But this to me looks like something that could do, potentially back to its all-time high, 5x. Could it double that, a 10x, maybe 15x or more? It's possible. Again, it's something that as an individual, you need to look at this specific project, see if it fits the bill for your risk tolerance, and then potentially make a move from your own portfolio. And so next one up is Helium. It's an IoT infrastructure project. It's decentralized wireless network. So this is one I've heard about way back when. This is where you can actually put in hotspots for internet access in a certain location, connect it into their grid, and as it's being used, again, you can earn Helium tokens and sell them as you go, or hold them for the longer period of time, hoping for more upside. Really, a very strong project in my view. It's starting to prove itself. It's got, thousands, now tens of thousands of these HubSpots all over the world. It's gained, massive attention. At one stage, its market cap was over 5 billion. It's currently at 1. So again, about a 5x back to its all-time high. I don't believe that this, the amount of additional HubSpots that are out there since its previous all-time high would suggest that this is more valuable now than it was then, and based on a similar pricing structure, then you would have to expect that this would go much higher. So in all likelihood, there's every possibility of a 20x or more in this project, assuming everything continues to go well. And of course, that's where the risk is. Can this continue to build on what it's done? Can it continue to get more people with HubSpots in place, more people actually using their overall ecosystem? If they can do that, then the upside here is really strong. But of course, so is the risk. The risk is high. So again, depending on how far out the risk curve you want to go, this could be one for you if your risk tolerance is quite high, but you're chasing that higher upside. Of course, there's no guarantees on any of this, and it's certainly not financial advice. So another good project, I think, that's well worth looking at. And thirdly, then, the other one we're looking at is LivePeer. This is to do with video streaming, and it's again a way where they're making it more efficient to distribute content. What does their chart look like? Again, look, it's going back a long way. It was doing very little, as often can be the case, but you can see there its all-time high is in around 1.5 billion. Currently about 4, so there's about a 4x between where it was before and where it is now. But again, it probably hadn't got huge following in the last run, so the potential upside in this is significant. And obviously its current market cap, while it's quite strong, it's not, if it really takes off, there's huge upside. But this is definitely further out the risk curve, a very high risk one. If you do your research on it and you like it, it might be something you might want to add a little piece of this into your portfolio. But again, these aren't recommendations. I'm just giving people a view on what these projects look like, what to look for, and take it from there. One very good positive for this one is fully all its tokens are out. So there's no more tokens coming into existence, which means there's no more potential sell pressure for it. So that's definitely a positive for this project. But again, if you think this is something you might like to look at, do your own research, look into it, and then make a decision. Like I said, none of these projects that I'm doing on these Ethereum videos are recommendations. They're just simply giving you an idea of what we look at so that we help make decisions as you go along. And so that's just looking at a couple of projects in DePIN. There's many more of them out there within Ethereum and beyond. And so then our next area of crypto we want to look at within Ethereum is AI. And so again, I've literally just picked a couple here. There's many of them. These are some of the best known ones, I guess. Fetch AI. Now, Fetch AI is a combination of 3 that existed before. So it's a combination of Ocean Protocol, Singularity Net, and FET itself. So still going under the FET tag. As you can see, this one has already had huge gains from a market cap point of view over, since say 2022, and its all-time high is relatively recently, just a few months ago, all-time high being just shy of 6 billion, currently at 3.6. So you can see here, this has had an awful lot of its upside, and it's already at 3.6 billion. On the positive, it's almost all its tokens are out, so there's not a lot more to come. But where can this go? Well, of course, we know AI is highly likely to have a very strong part of the narrative moving forward in this run. And so it's highly likely a project like this, particularly a combination of a number of different projects, it's highly likely this could do really well. Could this go to a $30 or $40 billion valuation or higher? It's possible if everything, continues moving in a positive direction within the projects itself and within the overall crypto market itself. But of course, there's nothing to say it can do that. If it were to do that, there's a 10x there. Is it worth the additional risk to go from a 4 to 6x potential in Ethereum to go into something like this to get possibly a 10x? Of course, it might do a lot more than that. It mightn't do anywhere near that. But these, again, are just the questions to ask yourself when you're considering looking into one of these projects. Moving on, then and again, we'll just go back. Fetch AI is that autonomous agent for complex task optimization and data sharing. What BitTensor is it's a decentralized machine learning network for collaborative AI model development. What this means basically is what they're doing is they're using the data that they have using it in a decentralized way. So lots of different projects can use that data to train their AI models. So it's just doing that in a decentralized way. How is it looking from numbers point of view? Again, you can see this is already been, its all-time high again is very recently in the last month. And its market cap has been shy of 5 billion. It's currently at 3.7, so not a huge upside to its previous all-time high. But again, like the last project, can this do 30 to 40 billion valuation or more? Possibly. Is it higher risk? Potentially. And one thing to note here is only about a third of its tokens are out yet, which means there's a lot more tokens to come into the market, which is potential sell pressure. And can it create enough interest to swallow up that additional tokens coming into the market and also do, for example, a 10x from here? Who knows for sure? But these are the questions to ask yourself as you're moving along. Finally, one last one, one further down the market cap range, and of course, further out the risk scale, and that's PAL. It's an advanced platform for business automation and customer engagement solutions. So let's have a look at its chart. So first thing you'll notice here is, its market cap is under 300 million. The previous two were over 3 billion, so already 10 times more. And this market cap on this one has been as high as, about 500,000. It's currently called at 300,000. Again, the majority, if you look at these tokens here, the majority of tokens are already out, so that's positive. And so the big question for this one is, it's a newer project. Can it get adoption? Can it get interest? Can it ride the AI wave within the overall crypto wave? And if it was to do that, how high can it go? So again, much further out the risk scale, much higher risk. Upside really strong. For this one to do a 10x, for example, it would still have a smaller market cap than the previous two. And like I said, if it gets huge adoption, then the potential upside is huge. So this could do a 10, a 20, a 30x or more. But of course, it's high risk. It could go to zero. And so again, hopefully this general overview that I've done on the Ethereum projects, the different areas within Ethereum, the different types of crypto areas that you can look at, the different projects within there, and then looking at the numbers. Hopefully that gives you an idea of, look, the further out, I suppose the smaller the market cap in general terms, but the further out the risk scale you go, the better chance you have of even losing some or maybe all of your money. But if the project does gain attention, get adoption, a lot of use, then there's a potential for upside and very large upside. And then you have to decide what's your risk tolerance, how far out that risk curve do you want to go, and what upside are you potentially looking for. And so hopefully that's being useful. I intend to follow this up with a one video on Solana, another video on Base, and maybe others to follow. And of course, we will start looking at individual projects that we specifically like, go into the detail of why we like them, and use that information then to do your own research and decide what you want to do from there. So overall, the sort of risk reward summary here is, if you look at DeFi, I think DeFi is going to be huge. DeFi has already been huge. There's a lot of projects that are out there that have established themselves before the last run. We know the technology is there. We know they work. We know they can continue to work through a bear market. And so you have a huge amount of the risk taken off the table. But of course, some of the upside is taken off the table too. But for me, DeFi looks like an area that's going to be really strong over the coming months and years. And it's a real use case. So the potential reward, if you can find the right projects, is big. Even established projects, there's high potential reward there. And of course, if you can find a new kid on the block, and you do your research, you like it, and it has that, it gets that adoption, then the upside is massive. Real world assets, a bit more of a new area in crypto, of course. Because it's got that connection to real world assets, you would see with all this institutional adoption, and the likes of BlackRock coming out and stating that they believe everything eventually will be tokenized. So all assets being tokenized, or, real world assets being tokenized, then you would suggest there's a good upside there. But of course, you need to pick the right projects and hope that follows through. Gaming, and I'll add metaverse into that. Gaming and metaverse are certainly, I would say, in these sectors, probably the highest risk. and trying to pick the right one that takes off is going to be very challenging. You could pick a project, it could easily go to zero. If you get the right one and you get it at the right time, the upside is monumental, truly game-changing. But it's very much very high risk, potentially very high reward if you get the right one or couple. DePIN, we can see this is sort of like a real use case within the world where they're decentralizing existing types of businesses. So like AWS has cloud computing sort of sewn up, but now we see projects in the decentralized manner coming out and really challenging that. And of course, the upside potential there is huge. So again, find the right projects, get in at the right time. Upside is significant. Certainly, of course, with all of them, there's risk. And of course, AI. AI has had the narrative for quite a while now in general stocks. And NVIDIA, is all the talk and seen as the number one project out there, certainly from the amount of gains it's given over the last number of months. And so the AI wave is unlikely to peter off anytime soon. I think we're going to see an awful lot of talk, huge money being still put in by the top 6 or 7 tech companies in the world are talking about putting 30-40 billion in again over the next year or two into AI and AI development. So I think we're going to hear an awful lot about that. It's highly likely to carry in the narrative and in the crypto narrative. And so it's highly likely there's going to be a lot of projects that do very well. If you can find one that's, at a lower cap and really catches the narrative, the upside potential is huge. But again, likewise, if it doesn't catch on or they don't follow through in the promises, then there's every chance those could go to zero. Of course, there's well-established ones out there. A lot of the upside is already gone, but they could be useful for your portfolio. Again, hopefully you found that useful. Again, a good way of looking at this is this. How many cryptos do you want to have in your portfolio? Do you want to have 1 or 2? Do you want to have 10 or 20? Or do you want to have 100? I personally wouldn't be suggesting 1 or 2, but a lot of people might decide to go for Bitcoin and Ethereum. A conservative approach could be the right approach, and you might get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x, who knows. Or if you're looking to go further out, you're looking for a higher upside, then you'll need to go further out the risk scale, I would suggest, if you want that to happen. And so then it's a case of which chains do you want to work with? Let's say you were going to go with Ethereum, and you say Ethereum, okay, I want to go all of those 6 areas we've looked at, and there are other areas outside of that. And then you say, okay, I want 2 in each. So that's 12 in just Ethereum alone. Then say you want to do the same in Solana and Base and a couple others. So now you're going to do it in 6. That's 72 different cryptocurrencies. In my opinion, madness, because you couldn't possibly stay on top of the narrative or what's going on in each one of those projects. So you might decide, you know what, I'm only going to go in 1 chain and I'm going to do a few in each one of those, or I'm going to go on 3 chains, but I'm not going to bother with gaming or metaverse. They're too far out the risk curve for me. I won't bother with those. And so now automatically, now you're talking about working off 3 chains and maybe 4 areas, and that's 12. That's a number you can manage. Maybe you want to have 2 positions in a couple of those. Maybe you want to leave off another sector. You might decide, I don't know, real world assets isn't for you, and that's fine. But come up with a plan. And then whatever your plan is let's say real world assets is for you. Do all the research you can on the space, and then do all the research on what projects are out there, what chains, and really dig in. But focus in on certain areas. It's not possible to have a full understanding of every single area of crypto and all the different projects in there. There are tens of thousands of there. So again, get focused. Now is the time to really get a full understanding of the opportunity that there is in crypto. It is enormous. Give it some time. I know everybody can be really busy, but if you want to get the upside here and the upside here, it could be a one-off generational opportunity, then do the research, give it some time, follow who you need to follow, but you have to do your own research too. Get conviction in certain areas in the projects you do, because the market will absolutely try and shake you out. But if you've got conviction, you've picked the right projects and you stick and hold, the chances are you're going to have a very positive outcome. With that, watch out for the following videos, and we'll talk to you all very soon.